Hey, how's everybody doing? This is going to be the final video that I make regarding the throttle for the throttle response for the Kawasaki Z900RS. So if you checked out my other videos, I did purchase a G2 Ergonomics Throttle Tamer. Go and look into that company if you want. What it's supposed to do is basically flatten out the first 20% of the throttle pull on fuel injected bikes. It's a pretty common quirk or complaint that people have, that they don't have a lot of control in the initial onset of twisting their wrist. So first, I do want to start by saying, because after reading some of the comments and getting back to some people, thanks for your time and watching and listening. The intent of speaking about this or making a video, I'm not really a video guy. I'm not going to record myself while I ride. I don't see that changing in the future either. Was basically one of safety. This is a bike I was interested in. Before this, I was interested in the Honda CB 1100 EX. So I've been looking. I like naked bikes. I like the retro look better. I don't like the new kind of transformer-ish looking motorcycles that they make. It's just not my thing. I want to be clear. Everyone has a different riding level. There are many people that can ride a hell of a lot better than I can. You know, I had read almost every damn review on this bike, watched every damn video that I could find on this bike, and everybody kept mentioning the throttle and its abruptness, snatchiness, whatever you want to call it. And it was varying. Some people are like, it's kind of annoying. You're going to have to get something done, put a power commander in, fix it somehow. Other people are like, yeah, you'll get used to it. And then there were other people that were like, you know what, absolutely no, it was white knuckle experience. I forget that bike. I was glad to get off of it. So I did test ride this bike at another dealership. And that bike was set up appropriately. When I got on the bike, I noticed, there seems to be some slack in this throttle. I'm not used to that, but okay. Then I could see, it is very sensitive initially when you start rolling on the throttle. But it wasn't scary. It was controllable, and it was something that I easily felt when I got off the bike I could live with. And obviously, because I ended up buying it. There were two things about that particular dealership which led me to not buy from them. One is the bike they had was the orange, root beer and orange. I like the root beer color, not a big fan of that big 5-6 inch orange stripe. Sorry, that's just not my thing. If the stripe was tiny, like on that tank, I probably would have bought it. The other thing, though, really about the dealership is that they were not willing to move one plum nickel from list price. So I was like, well, I'm just going to keep looking. The summer season just started. Sorry. So I did, and I located another dealer over the phone who gave me a great price. They were far away from my house, but they gave me a good price. They had the black one. I went out there. I walked around the bike. I looked at it. I was excited. I wanted to go home with it, and I wanted to just get on the road and leave. And that was my stupid mistake of not riding this bike. I should have got on it and test rode it just the same, because I probably would have told them before I signed my paperwork, and it was on me that it was all mine, that I probably would have said, you know, what's up with this throttle? What's up with this thing? Seems way too harsh and way too jumpy. You know, can you guys take a look at that? And they probably would have came to the same things that I would have after reading through the manual, which I also didn't do at the dealership before I left. So that was on me, right? So this is my review now, coming in at the 4-minute and 30 part. I'll note this in the description of the G2 ergonomic throttle. It does what they claimed that it would do. It mellows out. It gives you a little more room to work with for that first 20% of throttle roll-on. So if, and I would say, if you first make sure your bike is set up like the manual says, if you can get used to having slack in your throttle, that 2 to 3 millimeters of free play that they tell you to dial in, and you like that and you're okay with it as you ride the bike, then you're probably fine. Just ride the bike. If you're like me and you rode the bike like that and said, yeah, this is okay, it's certainly better than when I took it from the dealer, but you know what, I don't really like that slack. You know, if you don't like that, then order it. It's $80 and it's reversible and it's refundable. If you don't like it, it's an easy job. It took me about 50 minutes to do, and I took my time doing it. I have the video on really the major points in replacing it. So if you don't want the slack in there, then I would buy the Throttle Tamer, install it, and I think you're going to be pretty happy. Because I'm going to show you the reason I'm sitting in my garage. I'm further away from the bike. It's really windy. Today is like 16, 17 mile an hour winds. I went for about 135-mile ride out to a state park and back this morning. I took the day off because the weather finally broke, and I've been watching the weather, and I just took the day off Friday. I looked at the weather for today, and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to take Monday off, at work. So that's what I did to ride. And I am, pleasantly surprised at how well the bike deals with wind. The bike that I traded in for this has to have at least 50 pounds on. I had to have 50 pounds of weight on this, and I felt completely in control, with wind and all. The wind really seemed to be hitting me mostly from the shoulders and neck and head. I mean, there were times where I felt like my helmet wanted to lift off, rip back off of my head. But I'm happy to report that you just shift your ass over to whatever side the wind's hitting you on and kind of lean into the wind, and you're good to go. I rode the bike at speeds of 60, 65, 70, 80, sometimes a little over. At 80 miles an hour in 6th gear, you're at your 5,000 RPM. I think you're supposed to keep the bike under 5,000 RPMs for like the first 500-600 miles. Good luck with that. It's kind of difficult to not want to rev this thing, because you're going to go through the gears really quick, unless you try to drive as slow as you can. But the bike, look, I felt confident, comfortable on that bike as I ever felt on the 1100. Wind and all, wind or no wind, the tires seemed to grab the ground. I seemed to have good connection. I did not feel vibration in the foot pegs or in the handlebars, and that's at all those speeds. It takes bumps fairly well. There was a time or two riding out there, the roads are a little curvy. There's my next bike. There was a time or two where hitting a curve, there was a little bit of a hip shake in the rear shock, a little swing out, and I'm not a knee dropper, so I wasn't going real fast. So I can see how, if you're going to get on this bike and really be carving it up, yeah, you might want to look at the adjustments on the shock. You might want to look at different suspension options. I don't know. I would suspect I'd be kind of questioning why you would buy this bike for that type of riding experience first and foremost. But I mean, it'll do it. It'll get you there, but you might not be fully happy with it. Other than that, nothing but good things. So now I'm going to walk up to the bike and show you. Like I said, I was able to, this was over a series of times, riding it and taking more and more of the slop back out. So really right now, there's really, it's really pretty much right there. It's snug, and I really like it the way it is right now. That to me makes sense. Just for that alone, I feel that the product is worth its $80. I mean, I've been looking at other accessories for the bike. I'm not sure what you can get for $80. I really want to get either the wraparound bar or the handles that go onto the ass end, so you could move the bike around. I'd like to get a center stand, but man, that thing's expensive. But hey, with that, anyway, everybody stay safe, stay vertical, take care.